To me, that seems to be emerging in my mind as a conclusion, but also then a challenge to both the Global Water Partnership in this region and to SADC to actually do that. Now, if there's lack of capacity and there's plenty of money, and we agree that public-private partnership is about getting the private sector to play a role, well, then hire them if you do not have enough capacity to do that work of working up these things in proper format for the donors.
Issue of communication. Why is it such a problem, though, for us?
I think it has just not been an area that we have focused on, and now we do realize that there's a big gap, and something has already been done about it. I think elements of this very occasion are a manifestation of that, the understanding that it is now time for us to take the message out.
Maybe what we need to do is encourage SADC to develop a web page so that that information can be available, or what is happening insofar as the water sector is concerned. But having said that, each of our countries in the SADC region has undertaken what are called national reporting under the Climate Change Convention. And each one of our countries in SADC has elaborated very substantially on the potential impact of climate change on the water sector, as a cross-cutting sector as well as an individual sector. That information is available. It is available on global websites. Now, what we need to do is also, therefore, probably encourage the SADC to work with the focal points in each of the countries to make this information available.
Anybody else wanting to raise any points here during our discussion?
In the water sector, SADC member states have really recognized this issue of communication and information sharing. And there's been an attempt now to try and provide a framework for communicating within the water sector and also between the water sector and other target audiences. We are in the process right now of consolidating our act. We are putting together a communication strategy in the water sector. And just to link to this financing issue, recently during the consultation process of this, for this strategy, this issue came up clearly, and the people that are putting this together were actually told that it is critical and it's imperative that given the issue of climate change, we need to map all funding opportunities that are out there and make sure that they are being disseminated to relevant target. There are issues of adaptation funds that are out there. So it's an issue that SADC's Secretariat and SADC water sector is taking seriously and is putting its act together. And I hope we will get somewhere.
To our delegates, anybody? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rolf from Cape Town, a consultant. I'd like to ask a more direct question. This morning we were presented with a list of 134 projects that have been identified. They're sitting on a piece of paper somewhere. What is it going to take some of those projects from a piece of paper to construction? And I haven't heard in this room any urgency around this matter. Are we going to wait for the World Bank to drive their agenda onto Southern Africa? And maybe, God help us, it's a good agenda. Or are we as a region going to take ownership of this process and drive an agenda for our benefit. And I'm not suggesting that the World Bank will not deliver something good, but where is the institutional mechanism to translate pieces of paper to action? And I'm not seeing that at the moment. I'm seeing a lot of talk and not a lot of practical suggestions about how we're going to move that talk into action.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. And I think, my name is Mampiti Matete. I come from the Lesotho Water Partnership. We talked about what opportunities we have as the region, what we need to do, and some of the opportunities that we identified. I think I'll mention one, that we still have a few dams, and therefore we still have room to develop more. And today we are talking about financing issues, and we understand that there are a lot of opportunities out there for us, for finances, and we said that as the region we also have a lot of resources. So it seems to me that it's like we are almost there to solve our problems, because we have opportunities to build more dams, the finances are there. So I think what we need to do now is to talk about how do we get there, because we agree that we need more water infrastructure to adapt to climate change, and maybe to also ensure adequate access to water resources. So how do we ensure that at the end of today, when I get out there, what do I say to my colleagues that, yeah, now it looks like we're getting somewhere? We have these opportunities, there is a lot of money out there waiting for us to grab it. How do we close this gap to ensure that we have the dams and the water? Thank you.
I'd like to try to directly answer the question about how do you do it? Look, within the European Union, we have, as agreed in 2005, a European Union strategy for Africa, within which there's a European Union African Partnership on Infrastructure that was officially launched in Addis Ababa towards the end of 2007. Now, there are a number of financing instruments within that. Under the 10th EDF, the European Development Fund, which mainly funds African countries, but there's something like 6 billion euros available, not just for infrastructure, but for many of the other aspects of capacity building and governance. Under the European Investment Bank, which is based in Pretoria but covers the Southern African region, they have a budget for the period of 2008 to 2013, I believe, of something like 1.5 billion euros. There's been established through various of the European institutions, such as the Investment Bank, the European Commission and our member states, a trust fund for support for infrastructure in Africa, which is mainly supporting the African Union and the NEPAD infrastructure initiatives. There are a number of initiatives and a number of financing instruments available within the European Union. The answer to the question is go and talk to those institutions, as governments, as regional bodies, because only through that will you find out what that money is available for and how you need to prepare things for it. There are project preparation facilities available to actually take those projects and put them in that format.